of Project Managers Club of Pune and all the participants who are registered for this program. I welcome you all in this monthly seminar. I hope my voice is clear, Vivek.
Yes, I can hear you very well.
Okay, so it's our privilege to have Mr. Vivek in this monthly program. Vivek comes with 2 decade plus experience in various industry sectors, providing consulting and training services with a focus area in project management, contracts management, risk management, and corporate training, including behavioral training, functional training, and also the certification, PMCP, PMP certification related training as well. His services have been availed by construction companies, engineering companies, manufacturing companies, and also service sector companies in India and abroad. So Vivek, welcome in this program, and thank you very much for your agreement of delivering a seminar at such a short notice in this month. Let me share my interaction with many of the SME companies. Whenever I speak or interact with the owner or the general manager of the company, one of the concern that most of these company managers or owners raises is that I'm too occupied with a lot of work. Even I have a good team, but I'm not able to delegate my work to them. When I interact with team members of those companies, when I ask them, are you ready for any task or any projects delegated to you, and the team member would respond and say, yes, we are ready, but somehow owner or manager is not delegating to us. Now, this is a huge paradox under which these SME companies, especially the managers, are facing this trouble day to day. In corporate world also, not all companies and not all managers are really able to delegate. So Vivek, my question to you is, I'm sure you would be addressing many of these points, but please address this particular question, that why managers or the owners of the companies are not able to delegate, even though they have a good team, and even though delegation saves a lot of their time, and they can utilize their time in other productive work. And what should be done by managers and also the team members of the company to improve this situation? Because right now it seems that such a simple topic of delegation, which normally you will find in the job responsibility document of all the managers, that they need to delegate, but somehow such a simple looking activity of delegation is somehow not really happening. So I think with this this background, I request Vivek to take over. Over to you, Vivek.
Thank you very much, Ketan. This is a fantastic introduction, and you have actually set the stage for my presentation. You have asked exactly those questions which are actually I'm going to address in this today's webinar, and today's my presentation. This is very common problem actually, not only with the owners, but also with the managers in the industry. Either you are an employee or you are an owner. People find several challenges in delegating their job to the next level, and next level is looking for them to expand their wings, to take over and work for their superiors, their seniors as such, and reduce their burden, learn new things. They are so keen actually about it, but somehow this doesn't work. Once even the people who want to give something to other people, they are not able to do it. So today in this webinar, I'm going to take these things. I will cover up that what what are the disadvantage the people are facing? Many times we see only one or two disadvantage, but there are many. Some are very visible, some are very hidden as such. And what are the challenges in delegation and how we can overcome these challenges? In fact, I will request the participants to be ready with the pen and paper. We are going to do an exercise, and right now here in this webinar itself, we will work out that how we are going to delegate the job to tomorrow, to whom I am going to delegate my work, how I'm going to do the work, to whom I will delegate. We will plan it out in this webinar on itself. So I have probably going to spend almost 20-25 minutes on taking the participant through this process. So be ready with the pen and paper, but let me give some context to that exercise before we actually jump on that. I thank all the people for coming over here and sparing time for listening to me. Let's go ahead with this. If you have any question anytime at any place, please put your questions in the chat box. Mr. Ketan Gandhi is looking at the chat box, and will be collecting the questions. He may be having, definitely his question is already put up, like his couple of questions to me. And but whenever any participant has any question, please put this into the chat box, and I think I will ensure that at least we have 15 minutes at the end, or more than that if possible, that we should go through some question answer, and I will try my best to satisfy those questions. So please put your questions whenever it is strike to your mind. Even if you think that it will be addressed, you can still put it. Probably it may not get addressed and you forget about it. Now let me tell you what is in my mind actually when I am talking about this webinar or this presentation to you, that I am making this thing for the people who want to grow exponentially, but currently not growing actually. And they have a potential as such. The people who want to empower their team, but currently not able to do this. These are actually complementary. When you want to grow, you have to empower your team. If you don't empower your team, you will not be able to grow. It's a condition actually. If your team is not able to take over and take more responsibility, you cannot grow. This delegation, many times people may not connect it with the learning as such, but this delegation actually creates a learning culture in the team. And it has a cascading effect. If we do, and in fact, the leader of the team can help his team members or her team members to delegate further down the line, and learning new skills to take over new responsibilities, and that actually create a new learning culture, and everybody grows in the whole team or in the whole organization in that sense. People who are reporting to you really feel value added. See, many times, I think a long time back, one of my manager asked me many times that one time that, okay, Vivek, just think over it. Why somebody report to you? Why somebody reports to you? So at that time I was not mature. I didn't have much answer. I never thought of this question as such. But this is a very critical question to be asked. Why somebody report to you? What is the benefit of this person to be in your team? What kind of value add we are doing there? When we recruit people, we onboard people on the project. We look for what they can do for us, what they are doing, what are their skills, what are their capacities, what are their capabilities, how they're going to help the project. Will the project be able to benefited by these people or not? But one question we always forget, the person also has a takeaway. It's not only giveaway. We are just thinking on giveaway. The person also has a takeaway. And why the person should be interested in a project or in any work which is not adding any value to the person. So this delegation is a fantastic thing which actually add value to the people and help us to understand why a person is with me and what is the advantage to this person being with me, what kind of value add I'm going to do. And when we delegate, we add value to the people. We make them more capable. We enhance their role. We enhance their skills. We enhance their capabilities. They become more valued because just they are working with you. That's the important thing. And another thing which I am saying, because of all these things, you are adding value, empowering team, having a learning culture. What is going to happen? Productivity. Productivity will rise. The productivity will automatically increase. We are having so many missions actually to increase the productivity, and this thing just increase the productivity like anything. Everybody work for the things, then everybody is aligned, everybody is going the one direction. There is no chance of productivity being low. Productivity has to be high. And as a whole team, not only yours, but everyone's in the team. Everyone is the organization. Right? So this I'm going to take up that how we can do this actually. Look at this. Why delegation is really required. I mean, as such, I think Ketan has already set the stage that people want to delegate, but not everyone may be having the same thinking. We should understand why delegation is really required. For a manager, for a owner, for a owner of a small company or a big company, or a manager of a small or big project, all these managers were technical expert at some point of time. They were all technical expert earlier, most of them, if not all, then most of them. And because they were doing excellently, one fine day they become manager. Now, you see this cartoon actually shows exact right thing. A technical person normally is a person who do the work, and normally he has 1, 2, 3 things in his hand. 1, 2, 3 things in his hand. One thing, 2 things, 3 things. He can easily prioritize them. He can easily do one after another, or can figure it out what to do. But when this technical expert become manager, his responsibility is not for 1, 2, or 3 job. The whole project is his responsibility. All the work happening in the project he is responsible for, and therefore the task list on the manager come in a long way. And if he is not able to assign appropriate people to appropriate tasks, there will be a huge list for him. And because he has team, there will be issues, there will be things, all will be running towards him. There will be a long list of tasks which may not be ending. The fundamental difference of technical expert or technical person, that he is a doer, he does the job, while the manager has to get the job done. If he get involved in doing the job, then he will be all over the places, and no one else will be there all around. And you really can't do the project with one person, or you can't run an organization with one person, right? So there are 2 fundamental things we have to understand: that technical person is doer, manager is to get it done. Technical person normally has 1, 2, 3 things, while the manager or the owner has multiple things in his hand. And the whole project being in his hand, there are so many things, his task list may not be ending. And therefore, it is very, very necessary for him to delegate. If he is not able to delegate, he will be just struggling to do anything. right? This is the fundamental requirement as such. Now let's look into this. What are the reasons people are unable to do this delegation? Why they are not able to do the delegations? Many people are struggling and they're doing their own work. They are happy with the six hands actually, but they cannot do. They cannot give it to the other people. Sometimes what happens, I am doing the work, I have a strong belief in my capabilities, and I feel if I give it to someone, like that may not be done in a way I will be able to do. So there is no much trust in the people as such. His another thing is that whether the other person will be able to complete this work on time. Because time is also pressing nowadays. The kind of environment we have, everything has a very short life and very quickly has to be done. Now with that time, he is really concerned about, if I delegate and give it to my team member, will he be completing his job in the same time? And another thing, will he be doing a quality work? And how much intervention will be required by me? And if I am going to do all these exercises, all this kind of help to him, all kind of intervention into his work, then what is the benefit of delegating that? I probably end up spending more time than I can do myself. So let's keep it myself. That is another thing. So I just loving this task. Now I don't give it because I love doing that. Now that's a very interesting thing. The things which we love, we don't want to give to other people, even though it required other people to be given. So that is another thing which make people to hold the things with them. Fair enough, you can do it, but up to certain extent. After that, you have to give up. You have to detach yourself with these lovable things. Now, many times, not always, but many times, we fear that we lose the power and control. Not always happens, but at many instances, people are not. You have 10 tasks. One task you are not giving because you are not sure other person will be able to do it or not, or on time or not. But the other task you don't want to give because you will lose the control. Now, people don't understand that if we lose the control, if we don't lose the control, how the team will be empowered. And if we continue keeping this control, how the other controls will come to us. We will be strict to only these controls and they will remain with us. Nobody, like I am not giving these controls to others, my superior will not give controls to me, isn't it? And if he sees that I am so busy, I am not able to do the job and I'm struggling with the work, how will even my superior want to loosen his control? To whom he will lose the control? I don't have time. Right? So at some point of time, things which I'm loving, things which I want to hold, I have to give up. Let's see. These are some of the things which are roaming in the mind of the people actually. Fear of sharing accountability. Now another person accountable. I'm accountable for something, and now when I give it to somebody else, I have to hold him accountable. If I don't hold him accountable, the work will not get done. And if I hold him accountable, I shred my accountability. I shred my power. I shred my control. I shred the things which I love, which I think whether I should do or not. It is many times it is a threat. I probably may not lose my job. But I think this will be much more damaging, that fear of losing a job, than acquiring new responsibility. If I lose some of the control, if I leave some of the things, then I will only can inherit more things from my superiors. May go out of the job, fear, right? And one thing is, for some people, they really don't know how to do it. So hopefully this webinar will help them to actually learn this thing. Now look at this. What is happening when we are not delegating? Many of you, many of those things you may be feeling, many you may not be feeling, but it may happen. Many things are very visible, we can recognize. Many things are not visible clearly, so we may not recognize them. Too busy all the day. Sometimes some people think, yeah, remaining busy is a good thing. But if you are too busy all the day, you don't have time for your team or connect with the other stakeholders, then the connect with the stakeholder will completely lost. And many times people think that probably I don't want to connect with the team members. I have given them job, they will do. But the most important part of a leadership is the connect, is a human connect. You go to any leadership coach, you go to any leadership trainer, you go to any any leader, he will tell you first thing that work is secondary. First is connect with the people. People will listen to you when you are connected with them. When you are connected with them, when you talk to them, when you talk to them, when you have time to talk to them. But you have so many work with you because you're not delegating. I don't have time to. Even the people approach me. Either I will tell them to come later, or I try to settle the matter very quickly as far as possible. There is no time to connect. The team member which come to us, when he sees that I'm very busy, I'm trying to complete the things very fast, he lose the interest in talking to me, and he finds some other people to whom he can talk and solve his problem. So you lose the status of problem solvers also, because people will not come to solve the problem. They will go to somebody else. So stakeholder engagement, how the stakeholder will support us? When stakeholders are engaged. When stakeholders are engaged, when I engage them, stakeholders are not automatically get engaged. So the team engagement, stakeholder engagements are very critical for the success of the organization and the projects. And if we really want to, I normally say in my project management trainings that the most important chapter, most important topic, if you want to learn, is the stakeholder engagement, stakeholder management, because it is a stakeholder who make and break the project. If stakeholders are with you, you will be like, you are winners actually automatically. If stakeholders are not with you, you are the losers. You cannot make project really successful project if stakeholders are not with you. So if you delegate, you get quality time, you can invest in the stakeholder engagement, you spend time with the team, you have connect, you can better lead them. You not only busy all the day, you are slogging late hours. Many times it happens. There is a work storm which strike. At some point of time, there is a lot of work. So when there is a lot of work, you have to slog. Why you slog? Or you will download this work to only few confidants. You download the work only with few people on which you have confidence. So a very limited number of people get work from you because you have little confidence in them. And when you think I cannot do, you can give them. And there is no strategy behind them. I normally call it downloading, not delegating, downloading. Because I'm overflowed, I give it to them. So I also slog late hours. I make them to slog late hours because other people are free. They don't have any work and they are looking for work, but there is nobody who can give them work. Now, when we don't delegate, there is no skill development opportunities, because when we give, say, I do something, if somebody come to me and ask me to do something which is more than I am doing today, then I have to learn new skills, right? When there is nobody, when not such things is coming, then for what I should develop my skills. And if I develop for skills, I develop for skills for doing something out of the project or out of the organization, which detach me from the organization or from the project. Even more damaging, attrition will increase. If you don't delegate, attrition will increase. Another thing. career enhancement opportunities are less, because people will only enhance their career when they start working on the work which is meant for their superiors, which is meant for their managers. Now managers is not giving to them, then they can't do it, they cannot develop that skills. Where are the career enhancement opportunities? And because you are busy with this, even no career enhancement opportunity for you also, they become limited. Somebody pull, somebody give forcefully, you are okay, but ultimately you are not there to pull them. But you demand for them, but you are not able to take them. You demand for them, I need progress, but the manager is saying that I cannot give the work because he is too busy. So work doesn't come, and I'm getting frustrated because I'm not getting promoted. I'm not having my career is not progressing because I'm too busy in the current work. End up doing lots of urgent minuscule work. You see, small works. Many small works I'm doing. Why? Because they are urgent. Not because I want to do them. I don't want to do them, but they are urgent. If I don't do, that becomes a problem. So either I give this work to I have to do this, or otherwise I have to give this work to the people who are most costly on the project, who have my confidence, who are senior, on whom I believe that they will do quickly. And so most costly, most important resources, most valuable resources will end up doing minuscule work, which is because it is urgent. So no time for doing high value work, because you are not doing any high value work, because you are not doing any work which is adding value. Your manager is not seeing you as a person who is coming up and ready to take extra responsibility which he wants to give. And ultimately what happens? We fail to deliver, we fail to enhance our career, we fail to develop our people. Now let's look at this. If we are able to delegate, how the situation changes. Now it's very easy to understand that whatever is not happening will start happening. But let's see how this will happen. When we delegate, we get more time for the important things which we just talk about. If we delegate, we have time, we can do those things which are more important, which add more value. And which we add, when we add more value, we do more value added work. When we able to do more important work, our manager, our superiors is more inclined to give the work to me. So if suppose it goes like that, if my superior has 4 reports, right? 3 reports are busy, not able to delegate. I'm able to delegate, and I am free, and I pull the task from my manager. When the manager has to give the task, my superior has to give the task, he look who can do, who has the time to do this. So I have the time to do it. I ask for that. I take it and I get it done also. Why? Because I have time. Other people may be taking it, but they will not be able to deliver on time. When they will not be able to deliver on time, what will happen? The work will come to you then. And your progress will happen. Your progress will happen. So if the other people will do, their progress will also happen. This is very common actually. Now, when this will happen, your relationship with your boss will improve. You have better relationship with your boss. You can take a lot of work of your boss which probably boss may be finding it difficult, and you probably help him to do his job and helping him to catch up the work, right? Because of this, what happens? Because I have time, I have better work-life balance. Many times we blame it to our organization, that is in this organization there is no work-life balance. But actually work-life balance is not the organization which give us, it is the we who manage us. If we have, what is work-life balance? Whole focus is on the work and work and work. There is no focus on the task which is pending at home. This is called work-life balance disbalance. I'm not able to attend the work which is happening at the, which is supposed to be done by me at home because I'm too busy doing the work at work. This is called work-life imbalance. If I able to do my office work as well as the work pending for me at home, then there is no work-life balance issue. So basically I have to manage my time. I have to get some free time. And therefore, when I tell people to write their to-do list, when I ask people to write their to-do list, they write only their work-related tasks. I say, put your home-related task also, because you are one person, have to do all these tasks. So when you prepare a task list, put both the tasks, the work which has to be done at home and work which has to be done at the workplace. Both the task has to be in the one to-do list. If they are in one to-do list, then they both will get done, and they will get the priority, and you will be able to understand how much to delegate, what work should delegate, to whom delegate. In fact, you can at home also you can delegate. And ultimately the work should happen. That is important thing. When I delegate, when I give more control, when I give more responsibility on my team, they feel empowered, they feel valued. They say, see, if you look at this, when your superior come to you and give the work which he's supposed to do, but he says, can you do this? Don't you feel valued? Don't you think that your superior, your supervisor, your manager is feeling you worthy of giving the work which he's supposed to do? The same thing happens when you take your work to your juniors and say, okay, I have this work. Can you do this? Can you take this up? He feels valued. He says, okay, I'm getting something which he's supposed to do and he wants me to do. Now there are two things. One, he feels valued, he feels empowered, and he also has to develop his skills. He has to grow. He has to come up. His moral is boosted actually. His moral is boosting. Why? Because he is getting some job which will make him to grow. He is getting a job which will make him to grow. The same thing again and again, which is fit for his job. If he keep doing, he can't grow that. He has to grow by doing more responsibilities, more job as such. This will create more opportunities for him also. And when create opportunities for him, I have more time. I also create opportunities for me. I pull more things from my boss. I also push up. So whole chain works actually. If my juniors are not able to push me up, I'm not able to push my manager up actually. And I will not take up his job actually. So we get more responsible team members, more energy get generated, more productivity come in the project, more productivity come in the whole organization, and therefore we deliver better. We deliver on time, we deliver within budget, and just not that, we deliver a quality product. And so customer become happy in that manner. We get more business, more opportunity for growth. More business, see, repeat business is the best business, and the project team or the team which is engaged in the project is the right team or is the best team to make customer happy. If customer is happy, new business will come. No need to create a new type of confidence, etc. It's already built. We just have to deliver the work. That is what it happens. Now the question comes, this is all fine. The question comes, how to delegate, how to pass on the work which I have to my people. What are the tools in this? What are the tools and techniques? So what I will do here is that prepare a list of all the tasks pending on you. So get your paper, open up a Word document, open up the notepad, or if you have a pen, paper and pencil, write down all the tasks pending on you, all the tasks I'm saying. So I give you 2 minutes to do this. Write down all the tasks. Let's work on it. As I said, I'm going to take you through this journey. So let's start that journey. And this journey will start when I know what all work I have to do. So take a time. I'm here, and if you have any question, put this into the chat box. I'm looking at the chat box right now, also because I have time to relax and wait for you for. So if you are when you are completed your task list, just put this into the chat box here. You have written down your task list. Write down all the tasks pending on you. You are supposed to do that task. It's currently incomplete. You can comfortably do it. It is difficult to do it, or it is easy to do it. You will do it tomorrow, one week later, 1 month later, irrespective of that. You are expected to do this. It is on you. If you have any question in writing this task list.
Yeah, so Vivek, there is a question.
Yeah.
Are you looking at professional or both?
As I said, you just write your task on you. So my opinion is that whatever you want to do, do it. Write it down. I think both. Because otherwise your husband or your wife will going to fight with you because you are not doing that work. So either you fight at work or fight at home. It's called a fight actually. So wherever your boss is and his job is given to you, write it down. Professional, personal, anything, even the task which is originated from you only and you have to do it. Write it down that also. You should know how much is work with you and how going to do it.
Yeah, so Vivek, I have posted my task.
Okay. No, there is no need to put the task here. You can write it down with you. You keep your videos yourself. I just want that you are completed. That's all.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you are going to analyze and.
No, I'm not going to analyze. I'm just guiding the people. How done? The Shraddha has written down done. So that is what I want done.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Let some more people post it, and then we'll move to the next step.
Yeah, while people are writing a task, I think one of the question came to my mind when you were on the previous slide. When a manager is delegating the task to the team members, yeah. Now, manager also is a team member of a general manager. A team headed by a general manager.
Yeah.
And all the general managers are team member headed by a CEO, for example.
Right.
So what happens when manager is delegating the task to the team members, but the general manager is not delegating tasks to the manager? So manager has a dual role. One is as managing a team, and one is a member of a team. So when a manager is facing such challenge in any organization, where he or she is able to delegate, but he or she is not being considered for delegation of the higher level task. How to deal with this situation?
This situation do occur, but in this case, what I normally say that when you are delegating and you have free time, and you can do more than what is given to you, you actually pull the work from the people. So even the people who are not delegating down, and they are also overwhelmed with works at some point on time. I will call it work storm.
Okay.
So at that point of time, like I said, that when work storm strike to you, you try to figure it out, some of the confidence, you're confident, or where you have confidence, and then you actually give task to them because you have too much to digest actually, right? So your supervisor, your general manager is also having the similar kind of scenarios. At that time, you are the rescuer actually.
Okay.
So, and once this happens, he is more inclined to give it work to you because you become a confident kind of person for him.
Okay.
So when you have some time to do some extra work, some additional work, some value-added work, you actually pull that thing, and the situation, you wait for that situation. That situation will come actually, and then you are the person who will rescue your manager, and then you become a permanent partner in that after that.
Okay.
So, Vivek ji, can I
Okay.
add something?
Yes.
Kalyan here.
Yes, Kalyan.
So, you brought up a very valid point about delegation and the difficulties to delegate. And I feel in today's the exceptional situation where we are all in, I think people are always going to be battling between the right balance between what is household work, what is official work, because everybody is finally working from home now. This
Right.
situation is going to create more complications.
Right.
So I hope you're going to address that. That would be interesting to hear.
In fact, I am already telling people to write the whatever work they have from home or from
Yeah,
office,
yes, it is
professional
more
or
relevant now
personal.
in this situation. It is more relevant now.
Yeah, in this situation, it is more demanding actually. But even if this is not the situation, still the to-do list contains
Correct.
both the tasks.
Yeah, correct. Agreed.
Okay.
But now the
Thank you.
the boundaries are blurring for people. That's where the challenge is: professional
Right.
life versus personal life. That's the challenge which people are facing after having spent a long time working from home model.
Absolutely, I agree with you. I agree with you. Just for the people, actually, this the Kalyan Raman is one of the team in our project managers club of Pune. Okay, so let's go to the next step. Many people have written it down. Okay, okay. Now this is, I just give you an idea, little sorting. It will help little sorting it out. Okay. Now, this is a impact effort grid. This is quite popular also. It's not something new which I have bought, but it is for quite some time it is popular. There are a few things here. One is there are tasks which you have listed down, which maybe some of them will be having a high impact with a very little effort. Some will be having a high impact within high effort. Well, they're important. They are very important for the organization, important for you, and important for your overall development. Many things possible as such. So high impact and high efforts. But there will be other tasks also who may be required a lot of efforts, but their impact may not be high as such. Or maybe we normally call them minuscule work actually. They take up your lot of energy, but they hardly attribute to your growth anywhere as such, or add any value as such. Similarly, there is another things, the low impact and low efforts. So these are also called kind of municipal work, which is like you are just keep doing. A lot of things come to you. A lot of people, lot of work. Whole the day you will think that many things actually coming to you and you're doing, and lot of email responding is also part of it. Not all, but a lot of email responding is also part of it. So evaluate on this thing. So take your list and evaluate on these things, distribute them, put them, you can say, okay, QW for the tasks which are having high impact and low efforts. Put PR on the tasks which are high impact, high effort, take time to complete. While the quick wins become very easily, you quickly complete that, and it will be very advantageous for you. Some fill-ins and not worth doing, not worthy of doing as such, right? Just put them NWD or fill-ins FI in front of these tasks which you have identified, so that you know which task has to be taken on priority actually, and which task we should be kept on the low. Even if you don't do, it's okay. So just do this, and I think this will be a little quicker exercise. But sometimes a thought process is required just to think over it, whether I should, where should I put it? Don't show it to anyone. You probably, especially your boss at both the side. If boss has given some work and you see it is not worthy of doing, and you put it NWD, and boss so see that, could be have an inverse impact actually. Now, once you put this list become confidential. Stakeholder has to be managed. Low effort doesn't mean it's a very quick. It may be like it's not a like a, it goes for a month or goes for a couple of many days. It can be completed in a day or in a day or two kind of things. But comparatively, its impact is very high. Such kind of things are little, comparing to the efforts you are putting, is value add, is advantage are much higher. While on the project side, like the kind of efforts you're going to put, well, first of all, this may take like a couple of days or weeks or even months as such. And so impact will be higher, and but it requires, it demands for equal kind of efforts as such. But this low impact and high efforts means if it is not having much value to you, much value to your organization, much value to your project, much value to the people around you, and you still end up spending time on this, probably we have to see how to shred this off. And similarly, that low impact, low efforts, the fill-ins, a lot of work keep happening, keep coming up in the day, whole day. You have to figure it out, because these things will help us to further sort out our list actually. Okay, so if you have done now, what you have to do actually, we have to, because they are quick wins, it is easy to do. Probably most of them will be, you may be able to do, and you may like to keep it. But also see that, because you also have the responsibility of growing your people, you select some of them which you can actually give it to your people, even though you can do it, but you decide to like delegate it to your people. Projects are the place where you really need help of your reports. You really need help of the other people, and delegate the task in general as such. The project is a place where you have if the task looks too big to you, you subdivide into smaller pieces. You subdivide this into smaller pieces, because project may be if it's a kind of, you have put up a task which is supposed to be completed in a week, in a month. It's better to divide them into smaller tasks now. And then we will talk about that, how, which task can be delegated to whom, or which tasks have to be done by me. Okay. Similarly, low impact or low efforts tasks are the tasks which probably may require some distribution also. So as you are distributing quick wins, you also have to distribute fill-ins. Let's do things together. So you also see that it may not be like the person to whom you will delegate, he may not appreciate much of this, but a small amount of contribution, he may not mind it also. So we have to distribute this to the work, and we should see that it should be equally distributed to our reports, right? So this is the purpose of this bringing this matrix here. But now let me take you the full process of delegation. The first step you have already taken. Prepare a list of pending tasks on you, and which you have already taken. I will go to the next step. Okay, simple thing. Tick all those tasks only you can do. You think that it cannot be, but critically assess this. There is really nobody who can do this? Critically evaluate this, right? That it is only me, I can do this. Nobody else can do it. Tick those tasks. It may be a little quicker exercise now. But give a thought, really think about it, that is it really something cannot be given, or only I can do it. I only have the skills, nobody else have that kind of, or nothing near to that also. No other possibility as such altogether. Tick those tasks. Even something may not be very perfect, it's okay. In the coming steps, the things will come out to be little better now then. So don't worry too much about it, that okay, even if I tick something which I can, somebody can do, but I have ticked it, but probably we can retrofit it later also. Right? I will give you one minute for such things to do.
Vivek, practically we have seen low impact, high effort tasks are delegated much more.
Right.
So how a team member can respond to this? Because team member has no choice.
He doesn't appreciate. He does not appreciate actually.
So actually team member is looking at project tasks or the quick wins for delegation, but actually high effort tasks are being delegated.
Right. You're absolutely right actually. You're absolutely right. Many times this happens, and this happens many times unknowingly also. Like it's not like that manager want to do that, but because he doesn't want to do it, he give it to somebody else.
Yeah.
Right, without thinking that the other person will also not appreciate it. Basically, we have to see how we can avoid these tasks, and how we can, because they are not worthy of doing. Even if your team member is doing, he also may end up wasting time actually, if you are wasting time. So lot of the tasks which are the quadrant at the bottom, they get delegated, because the fill-ins also get delegated very fast. Because there is not much to do as such in that, but people don't appreciate. So, and they will not feel valued actually. They will feel that you don't value them as such, and that will like loosen the whole the bonding as such. Okay, let's go to the next one. Now, this is a factor here. This is a factor here that also tick those tasks which you love to do. Yamandar has a question that this categorization is done at the manager level and the team member may not be knowing that it is not a value added task. Yeah, it is okay, it's possible, but I think we have hired intelligent people actually. I always believe that intelligent managers hire intelligent people actually, and they are intelligent enough to figure it out later, in sooner or later, that the task which is being delegated to them is not of much value. So don't stay in illusion that nobody will come to know. People are intelligent, they may not tell you, but they understand, and their response will let you know that okay, this is not. There is another question, will you, okay, Jera says that you share the presentation after the training. Yes, I will. In fact, recording will also be available. Okay, this will be even quicker. Take the task you love to do. Now next, let's go to the next one. Love to do tasks can be many. Okay, if there are many, then I think we have to reevaluate them critically. That if there are too many things come to you, then it could be a problem actually. So if I understand you love your job, that's really great. But if you are loving too many of the tasks with you, you enjoying them, that's good. But then you should be very critical about it, that okay, what I should keep, what should I not keep. So see that if it is a long list, try to reduce it. I thought it wouldn't be a long list, but if you're saying the long list, possibly it may be possible. No problem. You will be having the recording. You can go through this later. No issues. Okay, now let's do the next step. I'm asking you to strike out these tasks. So I'm asking you to filter out those tasks which only you can do and you love to do. Filter out those tasks. If there are too many you love to do, then I will say, look at this. What are the tasks which I want to keep with myself? Tick only those things then. Or or look at the task I love, but I want to detach those things from myself. It's okay. Okay. This is a quicker task. Just want to tick it. Now let's look at this next one. Oh, sorry. Now this is something where real things start. Okay. Evaluate each task for who in the team can do this or has a potential to do it. Both the things, can easily do it or can expand his wings and do it. Whatever the task which you have not ticked so far, look at those things, those tasks only, and see that you can easily do it. You have an alternative, you have a team member who can do this easily, or can expand his wings and do it, or you think that you will be able to influence this person to take that work, take up that work. This probably will, I will give you a minute or two to think over it, and probably you start putting some names also there if you want. Go through each and every task, see that do you have a team member who can do this, or has a potential to do this, or can, or potential can be generated also. That is also possible. Identify those capable people, start putting the name of the people in front of the task. Where you have identified the potential, you hold them for some, for now. If you have a person who can do directly, can easily do it, does not require much support kind of things, that you can just like start putting the name of those people. We will think over things later that whether they will be able to do it or not, or will they do have time or not. That's another thing which we will discuss about it. But just see that if somebody can do, let's put this name, and we will see later that if whether he has time to do it or not, or if he doesn't have time, how to make time for this person to do this job. It is ultimately our responsibility to get this triggered as such. Done. Now the task which you have ticked as potential. You have a person who has a potential to do this, or you think that maybe a hidden potential, he may not know, you know, and you think that it can be done by this person. You put the name of that person in front of that task. Sometimes it's possible that you may not get anybody for a particular task to do, but that's okay. You can keep it blank for now. So if you have any task with you, you are not finding anybody who can do it, or neither finding anybody who has potential to do it, you probably, you can keep it blank. Don't assign it to anybody and keep it with you. We will see what to do with that. Okay. Now the thing is that there are two terms which I normally use. One is called delegate, another is called downloading. Both the things are the way to give the work to our reports, our team members, our juniors. Okay. What is the difference between delegate and downloading? Downloading is not strategic. Downloading is not have a thought. Downloading does not have a plan. Downloading does not think whether the person will be able to do it or not. Downloading does not know how to help the person to get the job done. While the delegation is a strategic, delegation required a thought process that how a person who has a potential to do this, how this person will approach it, what kind of problem he going to encounter when he will try to do this, what kind of skills he has to develop to do this, and what kind of support I have to give him to get the job done. Now, this strategic way of giving the work is a delegation. If you're not doing that, then it is a more downloading job. Because I am overwhelmed with the work, I don't have anything to do, I cannot do this, I have to give it to somebody, I will give it to somebody else. Let's give it to somebody else. So I have given it to somebody. Now I have giving this in a time of work storm. So work storm is a strike to me, and I'm seeing that I have nothing, I have no option except to give it to somebody else. Let's give it and ask him to do this job. Now what happens? There is no thought process behind this. There is no thinking about that what kind of problem this person is going to encounter. What we think, I have given the work to him, he has the responsibility to do it, he will do it. That's all. Now when this person approach back to you and say, I'm facing some problem, can you help me out? You say you are not in the mood of helping because you are already well overwhelmed with the work. You have no provision for helping him, and you probably understand and try to help him out quickly. But when he comes once or twice or thrice again back, then you lose your tempo and say, okay, if I have to help you out every step, then it is better I only do it. Now this could be sarcastical also, this could be true meaning also. I really intend to take the work back with me, and I will sit on this for 4 days because I have 4 days work with me, but I will take the work because I'm angry, I've lost my control. And or it could be sarcastical to tell the person, don't come to me again and again, you find your ways. So basically we are making life little difficult for our suburbs, our reports, that to do the work which we have given. They are doing our work, not their work. It is our work only. So we are making their life a little difficult, and then we can tell that, you couldn't perform. And that's not a good idea, right? So we look at this, we are going to delegate. We are not going to download the work. That is the next step. Identify what support is required. So look at this. This person has a potential. That means he is not up to the mark. Therefore, I have to find out what is the gap. In this gap, what kind of skill development is required? What kind of support is required? How much support is required? What kind of guidance required? How I'm going to support him? How much time I should keep it to support him, right? All these things has to be listed down, written down before we actually going to give the work to our report or our junior. So this is very important to understand. And when you have the task, you have to write it down separately and say what kind of skill gap is there, what kind of skill enhancement is required, what kind of support will be required, what kind of guidance will be required. Guidance is something which you give upfront before that. Support is something when he will come back to you and seek support. At that time you will support. And how much time will be required so that you have that time to support him. This work, this is time being. This is time being. For some time he needs support. It doesn't require support for forever. It requires support for some time. Think about it, that if for some time you give the help to him, give help to him, you will see after some time this work can be easily delegated to him, and this work will always be away from you then. You never need to do this job again. The benefits you see. You can always assign this work directly to this person after some time. So think that with this some effort, in the future, you will be completely free from this work. And this person will start taking up those jobs from you and start growing in the hierarchy, in the organization, in the skill development. Now, delegate the work. Sit down with the person. Give the guidance to the person. Now, this work is not what is going to happen now. This is what you're going to do tomorrow, right? This is what we're going to do tomorrow. So before tomorrow, please write it down, what is there in the previous step, that identify what kind of skill gap is there, what kind of skill I have to develop, what kind of support I have to give, what kind of help I have to give, what kind of guidance I have to give. So similar thing, from tomorrow you will do this job. This is tomorrow's job, that you have to delegate the person's work and guide him how to perform this work upfront, even before he asks. Upfront, provide him guidance that this is the work I'm giving you. I understand you have the potential, but you do not have the complete capability, but I trust you will be able to do it. Trust your people. This is very important. And commit that support. Tell him that even if whenever you have a problem, please come back to me. I am telling you, when you tell the person that whenever you have problem, come back to me, it would be even lesser chances of this person coming to you, because he knows that he's going to disturb you, right? So he will do everything. Whatever I'm telling you is applicable to 95% people. Only 5% people, which are I consider exception, probably may not fall into this kind of rules. But I will say, you take one thing, that don't apply this 5% rule on 95% people. Don't jump onto the conclusion. So commit the support, and that what is important here. Now, after a certain time, once couple of days down the line or week down the line, depending upon what kind of work you have delegated, generally in a few days, okay? Even the person has not come to you, you call the person or go to the person, sit down and see how the progress is being made. If the person has already approached you, this discussion probably already be happening. But if the person has not approached you, even is doing, there is a quite possibility that the person may not be doing something right, but he may not realize this. And he will come back later, you will say, okay, this has not gone, and repair, and the rework will be required. There is no problem in doing that kind of rework, but we just trying to minimize that. So you, in a few days, you approach the person, you sit down with the person, you see what is the progress has happened. Is the path which he has taken is right? He's moving into the right direction? Is any correction required any place? If a correction is required, guide the person to correct. And in a few days, once again, review the progress. This has to be done. This duration, the time period between two reviews may be increasing day by day. In first time, you probably like to do the progress within 2 or 3 days. In next time, you probably after a week. And next time, you probably after another 1 or 2 more weeks. And by the time if the work is complete, it's fine. But this is how your time period between 2 reviews will increase. Right? Now, you provide the support and keep looking at that, where is the gap and how to fill. If the skill development is required, when we say provide support means if a skill development is required, you may not realize in the beginning that some skill, say something may crop up, something will come up, which I didn't think earlier. I didn't think that any kind of skill development required, but now if you see that skill development is required, you probably has to identify a person who can fill this gap, or you probably yourself has to fill that gap. So provide training, provide skill, provide help to develop the skill, or any other kind of support, some kind of guidance, some kind of coaching, some kind of mentoring is required, that provide that, commit that thing. Okay, you can come every day, you can come alternate day for a half an hour, we will discuss. Let's do this every every alternate day. This is possible, this you can do that. And then the final one, when you this thing increases, your time period increases between the two reviews, and you see you getting comfort that this person can do now, you can withdraw the support. And sometimes you allow the person to face the challenge. This may be part of the game, and the person come back and then you support him. So withdraw the support when you think that the work is in safe hand and can be done. Now this cycle is over, but you can look back again, the task which you striked out because only you can do it and you love to do it. You probably like to reevaluate them on the criteria that is this on those, look at those tasks once again which you striked out in the beginning. Is it really only I can do? No other person is able to do it. Probably going through this process may give you a different thought. Probably some of the tasks you may think now that can be delegated to other people. Some of the tasks which you really want to love, you would like to deassociate with them and let this love, let other people also love. Okay. But if you think that the person doesn't love, you love it, you can take it, you can give it something else which he can love. That is also okay, because you love it, you probably enjoy doing it. So keep your work enjoyable. In fact, if you have a long list of things which you love, then I think you're already enjoying your job. So in a very simple summary, identify tasks only you can do, keep what make you happy, right? Evaluate critically the rest, trust your people, very important thing. Plan the delegation, very important thing. Understand only that delegation is called delegation which is planned, otherwise it is downloading, right? Provide support what the person requires, right? And thank you very much for your time. This is a time for question answer now. I think I have 10 minutes spare. I've completed this in time.
Yeah, I think by the time, Vivek, by the time other question comes up, there's one question.
Yes.
There's the issue related to credit of work being done when the task is delegated, or the issue of failure when the task is delegated and it's failed.
Right.
So how manager and team members are handling these situations?
Okay, yes, I think you have asked a very valid question, and this can happen as such. The task has a success, then the credit, and task has a failure, and then the discredit.
The responsibility or the blame.
The blame, yeah. Okay, yeah. So the thing is very clear to in my mind, it's very simple. If the task is done, the credit goes to the person who has completed the task. But task is not done, the blame comes to me. Okay. Yeah, because this risk I take actually. So when I delegate is not without completely free of risk. It contains the risk, and that's why this kind of planning is required. This planning is nothing but the mitigation of that risk which I carry, that the person may or may not be able to do it, and I have to find some alternatives actually for that. And that is why the complete tracking for in a few days will be required, in the initially frequently, and later maybe once you are getting a little comfort, then you that's why the last step says you withdraw support only when you feel comfortable, and tracking probably intensive or maybe shallow also. But we need to see that if couple of tracking, if it does not give you a comfort level, then probably it is a time to change the task actually. Withdraw that task and give another task which maybe you find maybe done easily by the person.
Okay, there's one
So
more question. Yeah, if a team member is intentionally and unnecessary asking doubts, how do we manage as a manager?
I think, Lee, see, this is normally called people management as such. Then I will say it's not part of the delegation, but it is a more a people management. If I am doing a good people management, this shouldn't happen. But I agree, this do happen. So if there are too many doubts are coming, and you see that there is an intentionally doubts are being created, then I think the person is not interested in taking up the work. This is the time to backtrack. This is the time to backtrack, take up the work. Do not give the work to someone which he doesn't want to do. That's not delegation. So delegation always happens to the people who want to take up the work. In fact, initial guidance and mentoring and support and the kind of motivation is required to convince the person that he is getting the work done. Many times, in fact, I normally I do this way also many times, that I have 5-6 work in my hand to do. So instead of me identifying who do, I put this on the plate, on the table, and tell my team members that you pick up one. You pick up one. Now, this also I have been like taking some risk, because somebody can pick up something which he may or may not be able to do it. But this risk we always carry actually. Whenever we doing something new work, there is a risk involved in it. Whenever somebody is doing some new work, there's a risk involved in it. But the chances of this, the person is asking unnecessary doubts, will reduce that. The work which goes to the person who is not interested in taking up, that chances will reduce in that manner.
Right.
And
There's one more
let me
question.
tell you, I have done it a couple of times and I have not regretted so far, but you never know, tomorrow it may be.
Yes. So there's one more question: how to differentiate between confident versus potential or capable person? Most of the time, both can be the same.
No, I think that's the judgment of the project manager. Because you are delegating to your team. I believe that you know in your team that who, like how you are doing it, who is doing what. And if you don't know that whether the person is able to do it or not, then I think it is better to test the water. So test the water means you try a small thing giving, and then increase the size of the delegation. So there is a possibility, but this is a evaluation of the project manager himself only, that how much a person is capable, whether he required support, he's a potential, or he's able to do it. Second thing, when you initiate this delegation, when you are giving this work to the person, at that time in the discussion, you see how much is the comfort level of the other person also. And if there is a discomfort, what kind of discomfort is there? That many times the people will say that you want it to be done in 5 days, but probably I may not be able to do it. Is that okay? So then many times people like taking up the responsibility, they fear that whether they will perform at par with the manager or not. So they have a fear of risk at their end, that if they are not performed, they will be, it will look bad and it will reflect bad on their performance. So we need to mitigate that risk. I normally do this way. I take that risk on me. I say, don't worry, you don't worry. I'm giving it this work to you. So the risk is mine. You don't worry about it. If something goes wrong, if it takes more time, I will see how to do it, how to get it done, how to put it. So I keep myself ready in such cases, that if the person is progressing slow, if the person is not responding as I expected, where the help is to be provided, or where the things have to be changed, whether I have to take it back, as I said, sometimes I have to take back, sometimes I have to change the responsibility, one task to another task to another person, change the things. But yes, let me tell you everybody that it is not, delegation is not risk free. And as a manager or as a project manager or as a organizations, we shouldn't be considering things going to come to you risk free. Risk is an important part of the game. Mitigation is important. If I have planned out properly to mitigate this risk, then it most of the time it will be successful.
Okay. There's one more question. How much spoon feeding to be done for a person to grow? Sometimes it is too much for the person to be do it himself rather than delegating it to other person. When to draw a line?
Okay, so spoon feeding is the word which I consider it shouldn't happen at all.
Yeah.
No spoon feeding is required. Okay, spoon feeding is not to be done at all. Spoon feeding means you are doing more than required. Actually, you are
Yes.
helping the person more than required.
Hmm.
Right? He knows, but I am still telling him you do this way. Right? Then what happens? Then the person who is taking over the job will think that I do not trust his capability
Hmm.
if I start doing spoon feeding. So don't do spoon feeding. Just do that what is required. And if you think that you are doing more, withdraw and let the person. And if you think that yes, he's overconfident, he probably not be able to do it. Let him be overconfident. Let him in the first 1 or 2 days. Let him perform and let him make mistakes. Without making mistakes, nothing thing can be go correct, go right. So allow him to make mistakes. In a quick succession of reviews, everything will come out and you will be able to address the things. So spoon feeding, no, I will say not at all. Spoon feeding, I consider is that you are providing support more than required.
Hmm. Okay, there's one more question. How to determine if the task needed to be redelegated to somebody else? After how
Yeah.
many check-ins?
Yeah, so I think this is what our review actually works. So when I say, okay, every alternate day, let's say review for next couple of things. So you see the progress actually. And you see that whether the person is struggling or he's moving forward with your help. So in a 1 or 2 or 3 review, probably in initial reviews, you will be able to know that the task is progressing or not progressing. If the task is not progressing, I think, and even your support is not working, and you think that more than this support probably may not be an appropriate at this point of time, or not in the interest of completing the task, or not in the interest of the current time, you probably decide to redelegate to other person and probably decide something for him. You can take the job from him, say, okay, you leave it for now, give it to me. I will look into this because this has to be done urgently. But the person should not feel that he was not able to do it. You say, okay, I think it is done, it is taking some time. Let's see, because the conversation is important. This taking time, it has to be done quickly. I think right now, let me do this. Let me do this. I will come back to you with another task. So that kind of comfort should be there with the person. Person shouldn't be feeling that he couldn't do it, or something was trusted on him, but he couldn't perform at par. Actually, he shouldn't be feeling that. In fact, as such, I
Okay,
normally feel that way.
yeah, has managerial style has a big impact on a decision of delegation? Like autocratic leaders, they are generally not comfortable in delegating.
They are comfortable in downloading actually.
Yeah. So, is it something to do with the leadership style or a managerial style of a person?
Yeah, it happens that way. See, many times we talk about leadership style or managerial style, but when we say managerial style, then we actually, what we say, we accept the wrong way of doing management also, which I normally in favor of. So when I say he's an autocratic man and it is his style, I accept his style. So that's not a good way. Autocratic managerial is not a good way actually. He has to change as such.
Right.
So if I think that I am a autocratic man, then I have to change myself. I shouldn't say, no, my style is like that. No, it's not, there is
But,
no, there is a good style, there is a bad style. So let's
isn't
pick
it,
the style,
it
right?
depends on the organization culture as well, overall the atmosphere in the company. If nobody is delegating to anybody and just routine tasks are being delegated, then the environment is like that.
Yes, environment is like that. Your work will become hard, but not make impossible. I will normally say there are two things which we often talk about, that the circle of concern and circle of influence.
Influence.
Just work on the circle of influence. Wherever you can influence, just do that. Your
Okay.
circle of influence started increasing automatically.
Has better EQ can help manager
Absolutely.
in delegating more?
Absolutely, absolutely. Very important part. Better EQ will help better delegation. Delegation is also the relationship between the people. Actually, it develops relationship. It also like if you give it to somebody, you are showing trust in that. Actually, so it is a part of EQ. You're showing trust in the person.
Right.
So very much part of EQ is very important part of this. In fact, much in a whole managerial things, I will say EQ is far important than IQ. IQ is for good for technical people. For managerial, it is EQ which is important.
Okay. Yeah, I think Vivek, you covered most of the points and also the questions. I request Professor Jaibai to share word of thanks and his comments.
Good evening, sir. Am I audible?
Yes.
Little echoing actually, I think.
Yes, sir.
So I take this opportunity to thank Mr. Vivek Prakash sir for his excellent delivery of this today's webinar.
Sir, there is an echo coming because of two speakers together.
Sorry, I connected with two devices, so that may be
Yeah,
the
yeah.
issue.
Yeah.
Now it's better.
Sorry. I thank Mr. Vivek Prakash sir for his excellent delivery of this delegate to grow, the topic which he has covered, and really it is important in the industry as well as in academics side also in any organization. If we want to make our subordinate to grow, we have to delegate the activities and the responsibilities which has to be done. So excellent way he has given the insights and also explained the process of delegation. So I must thank you, sir. Also, I thank Ketan Gandhi sir for excellent way of raising the questions from the chat box and also giving the insights to those questions. And I must thank all the participants who have patiently listened for 1.5 hours and gain this particular knowledge related to delegation, as well as they will try to implement it in their organizations. So with this brief note, I thank all of you and thank you for this today's session. So I think
Those of you who have not joined Project Managers Club of Pune Facebook page, please do that. We also have a WhatsApp group on Project Managers Club of Pune. So please join both these groups. And I think participants' questions and interaction has made it very interactive program. So once again, thank you to all participants and also Vivek and also Jaibai sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I
Thank
think
you
we
very
will,
much.
Vivek, there is a question how to join this WhatsApp group and Facebook group. So I think we should send a link along with the PDU email to everyone.
Right. So
Both.
everyone who has joined, I think you will get a PDU email, and in that the link for the WhatsApp group, Facebook group, and the meetup. There is a meetup group also that are provided. You can join any of them or all of them.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you,
Thank you very
everyone.
much, everyone. Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much.